this is an intriguing tactical battle. It usually is when Spurs are involved, given Ange Postecoglou and all the crazy tactics he's been deploying this season. But it's been working. Spurs 8 points clear of Manchester United going into this one. And this game really does feel quite pivotal for the top four hopes of both teams, right? If Spurs win again, they keep on rolling, keep a bigger gap between Manchester United and themselves, who are one of the teams who could probably chase them down when all is said and done in the season. But for United, they cannot afford to slip even further behind the top four. So what are your thoughts and feelings going into this game, mate?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for Manchester United. In a full-fledged, full-force, Spurs are healthy and everybody's in town, I don't think Man United is, maybe there's a 20% chance they get something out of this. But, new pieces may need to matter for Spurs here. They've dealt with some injuries as well. And I think it's an opportunity for Man United to have one of their good games. And unfortunately, consistency hasn't been, their North Star. But when they've been good, they've been very good. And I know they're missing a player or two as well. Amrabat is at AFCON, but this is going to be an interesting opportunity for United.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, they're missing Andre Onana as well at AFCON, so that's a huge deal. And then I think if you look at Tottenham, obviously Mickey van de Ven coming back is huge for them. Let's see if he, plays the entire game, but it looks like he should be fine. But obviously they're missing Basuma, Sarr, Heung-min Son. So those are some huge players there as well for Tottenham. And like you said, I think this is an opportunity for Manchester United, who have played decently well against Tottenham over the last couple of seasons, seem to match up pretty well against them on the counter-attack. And I think they're going to get plenty of opportunities to do that with the way this Spurs team defends. But Spurs, Timo Werner is probably the biggest sign in the January window so far. Savvy signing on loan, right? I think he's got so much to still offer and kind of is hungry. And I wonder how he's going to fit into this Spurs team. Does he actually start, do you think, when Son and everyone is back? Because I think he probably might do ahead of Richarlison. And then kind of just the way he plays seems to suit Ange ball perfectly.
Yeah, it's something from Spurs that says something. It says, listen, if this ends up being us taking on a big salary and he doesn't end up working, we know that can work for us. Like, we know we'll deal with that. We'll take that hit. We'll take that risk. Werner is a runner. He's a worker. He's a decent presser. He loves to get into space, but he's not afraid to go after lost causes and try and win those balls as well. There are interesting parallels to Kai Havertz, right? And when he made his move to Chelsea, and maybe it's something at that club that may have not worked for them. But I think this is a really, really savvy signing. It's a really decent risk. If it doesn't work out, sure, Spurs fans and neutrals alike and Chelsea fans can say, why would you have done that? But there's a chance that under Ange, who has shown us about work rate and shown us about energy and how he likes to play, that Timo is just a really good signing, that he's a good fit. And that's what Ange did at Celtic. He would bring in players who you hadn't heard of, but they were the right fit for what he wanted to do. This is a bigger stage, and so far he's doing that too.
Yeah, very clear philosophy, and Werner fits that to a T, right? Absolute perfection for the way they want to play on the counter. And yeah, looking forward to seeing if he can do it, because he always worked his socks off, always really wanted him, come on, you can do this at Chelsea, but just never really happened from there. So hopefully he can get it going at Tottenham. What I like about Tottenham now is that in their most recent Premier League home victory against Bournemouth, they're a bit more pragmatic. Ange ball was still there, but when they had to in games, they sat back, they soaked up pressure, and then they countered teams, which we weren't really seeing for most of the season. And I think the defeat away at Brighton really was maybe the switch there, where Ange was like, okay, we still want to play really exciting attacking football, but there has to be some kind of stage in games where we can withstand pressure and then go again, because it's just been flat out 100% Ange ball the entire time. But I think what we did see is a different layer against Bournemouth. And, Spurs, given all their injuries, pretty good form going into this one. Was it 4 victories in their last 5 Premier League games. So pretty good going right now, given all the injuries and the fact that Mickey van de Ven is coming back. James Maddison's going to be coming back soon. And then in early February, obviously Son will be back from the Asian Cup. Obviously Sarr and Basuma are going to be back as well. And then things are looking pretty good for Tottenham. I think if they can get through this next few weeks, get a couple of positive results, then they can stick around in this title race. When we think about Manchester United, they're kind of getting some players back. I mean, Erik ten Hag has been praising Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the plans they have for the club going forward. But, only one win in their last 5, Nick. The pressure's well and truly on, right? We caught up recently in Buffalo and watched the Nottingham Forest defeat of Manchester United, and just again a lot of promise in certain areas, but just so clunky. Like we saw in their win against Aston Villa, just 45 minutes can be great, 45 minutes terrible, all over the place. And again, a team that probably is best when they're desperate and probably don't think about the game too much, right? They got a bunch of players that are almost just better when they're not thinking, when they're just instinctive. And they're a counter-attacking team. And I still don't think they have any kind of clear idea of what they want to do when Erik ten Hag has been in charge. You agree with all that?
I do. I think it's hard. Maybe they have the idea. I'll backstep a little bit. Maybe they have the idea of what to do, and they don't have the horses to do it. And I'll tell you why. We used to talk about them as a rival or a competitor to get Declan Rice, right? When we mentioned Rodri earlier in the show, I saw a stat that kind of raised my eyebrows. And that was this: Manchester United is like 0.1 away from leading the league in possession won in the final third. Say what you will about Anthony and those types of players, but they're winning the ball back. They're not even trying to win them. They're effectively winning the ball back. And I think we know, jokes aside about Harry Maguire and step backs and what Varane is, I think we know they have players who can defend if something's being held in front of them. And they brought in Mason Mount to be in the center of the park, not to really affect that, but in order for Bruno or a Mason Mount to be at their best, they need to hold the ball. And I know there were even concerns when Casemiro was healthy, but at least he needs to come back because they are 9th in the Premier League in possession. And so if you can't keep the ball after you've won it back high up the pitch, then you're just running your wingers around. You're just making them work for nothing. And maybe keeping the ball, if Anthony's got 1 or 2 more goals and Garnacho's got 1 or 2 more goals and Rashford's got 1 or 2 more goals, that might just be the boost they need. So that's what I think. I think Man United needs to get the ball in the midfield. This, by the way, this may be a huge opportunity for them because Tottenham is missing some players there this week.
Yeah, they are. And I think this is all kind of, I feel like as we've talked through this preview, we're getting more and more positive about Manchester United in this particular match.
Because Andy's not here.
Yeah, true. In this situation, it feels like this is very much set up for a smash and grab for Manchester United against Spurs with the high line they play, how they'll be at home and there'll be expectations to kick on and really cement their position in the top 4. Feels like this is all set up for a Marcus Rashford 89th minute winner on the counter with a great through ball from Bruno Fernandes, doesn't it? So again, they have to withstand a lot of Tottenham pressure, Manchester United, and I think they can do that. Not sure, but I think they might be able to do that. And that's the key, like you said, holding the ball, keeping themselves in the game. And then they have the players in those individual moments to really hit them hard. So score prediction-wise, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Manchester United. I think United are just so inconsistent, but they can do it. And I think, week to week, we'll probably have very different discussions on them throughout the rest of the season. But I think this is a huge game for Manchester United to stay within touching distance of Tottenham and the top 4. So kind of they got to do it this weekend, in my opinion. What's your score prediction for this one, mate?
Barring a big Timo Werner game, which I don't even know if he'll start. So that's the case. Barring that sort of magic, I actually think this is a good chance to be a score draw. Yeah, I think both teams are going to score. The Son absence is just huge. And we've talked about that on the show. What he's been for them since Kane left it's immeasurably. It's immeasurably he's a difference maker. So not having him, not having the midfield, I think this could actually be chaos. Neither team really holding onto the ball and just fighting and fighting and fighting. So I'll go 1-1, but 2-2 wouldn't surprise me. I kind of like your score though, Joe. I do.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.